Hello, welcome along to episode 169 of Adventures in Pop. I'm going to be covering two things in this episode. One is just a quick little review of a gig I went to last night on the summer solstice, and it was especially a summer solstice gig because it was an open air thing, with the sun going down on the longest day of the year. It was lovely. Come back to that in just a moment. The second thing I'm going to cover is a list that got published this week of the artists who have had who've been the most played. That's quite a wide range. We'll discuss what that is. But the artists most played here in the UK over the last year. So we're really talking about all the information from 2023. Quite interesting. But first of all, I went to a gig. Yes, it doesn't happen that often these days, but it was very lovely. It was Nick Mulvey playing at a kind of little mini festival that's had a few artists appearing over this week and next week. They've had Crowded House. I know they've got Jungle coming up and a few others, and good artists. And Nick Mulvey was last night for the summer solstice. A nice. Rather middle class, not very diverse crowd in Wasing, which is in Berkshire, and it was called Wasing on the Mount. So it was a nice setting and a big stage with lights and all the rest of it, and then a natural hill that gave people a nice view down to the stage. So you could kind of sit anywhere you want, and you had a pretty good view. Lots of kids, lots of families, and the overall tone, I was a bit surprised, maybe I shouldn't have been, but the overall tone was a little bit cosmic for my taste. It's the kind of thing that just starts to get my eyes rolling and makes me come across as the most cynical person in the whole world. But there was quite a lot of suggesting that we should make a deep connection with the cosmic situation. I don't really know what that means. I mean, what is the cosmic? If you know how to make a deep connection with your cosmic situation, then do let me know, because I was struggling with it, to be honest. I must be the least cosmic person around anyway. But so there was a bit of that going on. It was a bit, it was all non-alcoholic. It was all vegan food and being in touch with like the fire and the sun and the energy, man. And I really should have taken, a whole load of things to smoke, probably. But that aside, my cynicism and sarcasm aside, Nick Mulvey is good. I think he's really good. He's afflicted with a thing that some artists have, which is this real problem where they make a breakthrough with their very first album, and then they can never quite get over it. And I think if you don't know the music of Nick Mulvey, I would say go and listen to his first album, which is called First Mind. Came out exactly 10 years ago, because he mentioned that he was doing a tour of, the kind of 10-year anniversary of this first album. And the point is that first album probably still has his best music on it. And I don't know, maybe I'm sure he would disagree with that, because all artists would disagree with that. But certainly his first album is one of those debuts that I think has been tricky for him to surpass. So if you want to listen to Nick Mulvey, go to the first album. You'll get the whole kind of Nick Mulvey thing in that first album. Particularly a track called Fever to the Form. Fever to the Form is brilliant, and so is Kukuruku, which is on that album. So anyway, look, I recommend it. So he was good. He's a little bit samey, I guess, after a while, but it was really nice, and it was exactly the right kind of music for that kind of evening. The sun going down and people sitting on the grass and just, being very chilled. And I would say one other thing. If anybody's listening from Wasing on the Mount, I thought it was really well organised, and the sound quality I thought was exceptionally good, which is not something you can always say when you go to an open air gig or a festival, and it's all happening in the great outdoors. So that was really very good indeed. I'd say spectacular. One of the best sound qualities in open air I think I've ever heard. There we go. Nick Mulvey. Check him out. In the meantime, as I say, there was a list produced very recently of the most played artists. So we need a little bit of, what does most played mean? It's basically TV, radio, and in public places. So if your songs get played in cafes and bars and all the rest of it, then that all counts. And in the UK, the most played artists. Well, let me just read you what it says here. I'm reading straight from a BBC website here. British singer-songwriter Ed Sheeran has been named the most played artist of 2023. The Suffolk-raised musician has topped the list of music used across UK radio, TV and public places for the 7th time in 9 years. Think about that. 7 times in the last 9 years. That's extraordinary. He beat megastar Taylor Swift, who was placed second on the list, which is compiled by music licensing company PPL. Sheeran said, "Thank you, and it's all very lovely." Swift, who is currently playing UK dates with her Eras tour, was number 10 in the previous year, number 2 in 2023, which is as high as she's ever been, equal to her high of 2015. Dua Lipa was third. Number 4 was DJ Calvin Harris. 5th was David Guetta. And 6th, and this is really interesting, a couple of oldies have got into this chart just because they get played a lot. So just really interesting. So number 6 was Sir Elton John. The only band in the top 10, it says here, was Coldplay. They were number 7. Tom Grennan, a new entry at number 8. Can I just say, I'd never heard of Tom Grennan. I'm sorry, Tom. I went to look you up because I wondered if you really existed, and you seem to. And you seem to be really very popular. So Tom Grennan at 8, Harry Styles at 9, and Madonna at number 10. Do you remember Madonna? A return to number 10 following the launch of the Celebration Greatest Hits World Tour in London last autumn, and she gets that last placement. And what they also do is tell you which were the songs that were the most played songs. It's a slightly different list. So number 1 was Flowers by Miley Cyrus. It's been number 1 in every chart of everything. Eyes Closed, number 2, Ed Sheeran. Lewis Capaldi, 3, Forget Me. Taylor Swift, number 4, and actually she's number 4 and number 9. 4 with Anti-Hero, 9 with Cruel Summer. 5, Dua Lipa, Dance the Night. 6, Miracle, Calvin Harris and Ellie Goulding. Trustful by Pink at 7. Waffle House by Jonas Brothers at 8. Taylor Swift at 9. And Niall Horan at 10 with Heaven. So that's interesting. With all the Taylor Swift hype, it's still Ed Sheeran who's the number 1 artist in this country. And look, I've said it before, I'm sure Ed's a really nice guy. I don't really quite understand the extraordinary level of success, but maybe I'm not his catchment audience. So look, that's it. I'm going to leave you with all of that lovely information dancing around your head. And I will be back very soon with either some more new music, which I keep popping out these unreleased tracks. Have a look at those on YouTube. They're just without any talking. They're just popping out these tracks that never got released on any albums, but they kind of deserve a listen. Either that, or I'll be back to talk a little bit more about Strange Alien and some of the numbers, where it's got to, where we are with the PR. I'm having a meeting with them on Zoom on Monday, so I'll be able to tell you more about that during next week. Have a lovely weekend. Enjoy the summer. Take care. Bye-bye.